What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Krizz'Tina. If you're new here, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing this look today because I'm getting ready to go to an event. If you want to see how I did this simplistic look and what products I use, keep watching. I'm getting ready to go to an event out here in, I'm not going to say Dallas because technically it's in Irving. There's a, what I believe to be black owned beauty supply store that just opened called Gimme Beauty. So I'm finna get ready to go to Gimme Beauty. I'm going to start off with my brows. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. I believe I'm using the shade Granite. This shade is cool tone and ashy. So if your hair is like warm brown, red undertones, this is not going to be the shade for you. Typically I like to use Ebony, but this shade was sent to me by one of ABH's competitors. So right up in here, I'm just going to flick this through. And when it comes to my eyebrows, I'm not really a perfectionist about my eyebrows. I just like for them to look neat and clean, y'all. Now I am going to add 2 more products to my brows because I do want them to stay in place. So the first product that I'm going to use is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Freeze Gel. This gel is no joke whatsoever. You definitely have to wipe off the applicator before you apply it because a little bit goes a super long way. Especially if you're not somebody who has dense eyebrows. And dense just means you have a lot of hair, right? This brow gel does have a superior hold, so once you get it where you want it, try to avoid going over that area too much. What'll wind up happening is it will mix with whatever product you have under it and sort of take it away. The last product I'm going to use is the Ebony Brow Pen from Anastasia. I've had this thing for so long, and if you store it upside down like I do, it'll be real juicy. Like you'll probably have way too much product go right in. So I always tap mine on my little palette here. This is a great supplement for anyone who doesn't really want to fill in their eyebrows, like create a background like I did, and you just want to get a couple hairs, you know, like any gaps that you have. Okay, so I'm going to do my concealer. I'm using the Milk Makeup Concealer. This is in the shade 21W. If I'm being completely honest, I don't even know for sure if I should be wearing this or not. Y'all, she's literally doing backflips off my chair. I love cats. Anyway, I don't even know if this is my shade right now, but I'm going to put it on because I've been putting it on. As you can see, that's the part I was not talking through for real. I like to put my concealer right here because I like a nice transition between the rest of my base makeup and my eyeshadow. I don't care to see that little gap or even try to blend it out after the fact. So I always bring my concealer in on the upper bridge of my nose. Give it a try and see how you like it, especially if you notice that like right up in here you'll have a gap. And when I say a gap, I mean it'll be like eyeshadow primer and then boom, foundation, you know? This sort of prevents that. To blend it out, I'm going to use this Concealer Secrets brush from Makeup of the Day Cosmetics. I've had this brush for so long. I don't even know or think that they make it the same way. I'd have to look it up and see. But I've had this brush for so long. And it really just does what needs to be done when it comes to blending out my concealer underneath my brows, my eyeshadow primer. It's big enough, it's fluffy enough, it's dense enough without being stiff. And the bristles have always been soft. I really do hope that they haven't changed this brush because I'm pretty sure one of these days I'm going to have to buy another one. I'll blend it out. Cool. moving on, I haven't really decided. Well, I did say that I'm going to keep it simple today. I was going to say, I haven't really decided if I'm going to do eyeshadow or not. The dress code for this opening is pink for women and white for men. So I'm like, I don't really want to do matchy pink eyeshadow with a pink dress. I don't really want to do that. So I guess what I can do is, I was gonna say we could stick to Old Faithful. Old Faithful is some eyeliner. So I'm gonna use, this is Contemplative State from MAC Cosmetics. It's one of their eyeshadow paint pots. If you've never tried these, please treat yourself, okay? I pretty much focus it over here in the fold of my eye because I want a nice even application. And even though these are eyeshadow pots, basically meant as a cream eyeshadow that's going to stay on your eye all day, I use it as an eyeshadow base, especially since it's kind of close to my complexion in terms of not being a white base or a base that looks white on me. But yeah, so tapping it in is going to get it into the folds of my eye. It's going to give me a nice even application. And then I can go ahead and set it as well. Which, when I wear this on its own with no eyeshadow or anything, I do go ahead and set it. Because I've had oily eyelids all my life. This powder from One Size in Rich Peach. I'm kind of just going to take some product from the lid because I don't need a lot. These paint pots, at least the one that I'm using, is actually matte. So I don't need a lot. And I don't want my entire eyelid to be matte. I really just want the area where I have folds to be nice and set so that I don't have to concern myself with how it looks throughout the day. Or at least throughout the morning where I'm going. Boom. And you can see where it's matte, right? I haven't done eyeliner in so long. And I've been using this Lancome eyeliner. Idol Ultra Precise Waterproof eyeliner. I've been using this. My only thing with this is I'm not a fan of felt tip. I'm not a fan of felt tip. I feel like felt tip pens have a tendency to tug on my skin instead of gliding. And the brushes that, the eyeliner brushes that glide, they're brushes. They have bristles. They come to a point. They're really, really nice. I believe my favorite one that I used to love was from KBD Beauty, but I think they changed to felt tip, which is felt more affordable or something to produce. Then I switched over to One Size Beauty. They have a really, really nice one, and pretty much I just use them to outline my eyeliner because I actually really, really like the Anastasia Beverly Hills. Oops, is it gonna focus? The Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid eyeliner. I really, really like this. Now this also has a felt tip on it, but it's one of those cute, like, old school eyeliners. You know, fabulous product. I hope they never get rid of it. I remember when it came out, it was, I think, summer of 2019. And when I tell y'all, I was so ecstatic because I was like, yay. But then I realized that it was felt tip and I was like, why would y'all do this to me? So what I'm gonna do is tightline basically. And I'm really taking my time with this because I'm using a felt tip. If I had a bristle eyeliner brush, I'd probably go a little bit faster. And yes, you can tightline the top of your eyelids just like you tightline underneath them. And I pretty much just do this so that my lashes have something to stick to, like a shadow. There is a pair of eyelashes that I've been wanting to try from Kiss, and I have them in here somewhere. So these are from their Rebel Lash Collection in the style Rockstar. Now, these are super duper subtle for me. So this will almost be like double stacking my own eyelashes. If you know, you know. If you don't know what double stacking is, it's basically just taking 2 pairs of the same eyelash or 2 pairs of different eyelashes, stacking them on top of each other, and then wearing them. I learned it from drag queens. It's a fabulous trick, especially if your lashes have a thin band and you prefer something a little bit heavier. The lash glue that I'm using is from Sephora. This is their Sephora collection lash glue. I'm ready to get started on my base makeup. I actually want to test these products from SheGlam, but I'm almost 100% positive that I'm gonna have to finesse the shades. So we're gonna save this for another video. This is gonna be the hydrating foundation, the Complexion Pro mattifying foundation, and then the Skin Magnet high coverage foundation stick. For now though, I'm gonna stick to the Haus Labs foundation. This is in the shade 385 medium neutral. Before I put that on though, I'm gonna use the NYX glitter adhesive. I don't really put it over my mustache. It's really just like the corners of my mouth and then my smile lines. And I do this pretty much until it's see-through. For my primer today, I'm actually going to use this one from Estee Lauder. My light is so bright, y'all. I'm sorry. This is the Double Wear Smooth and Blur Primer. I don't think this one mattifies, it just blurs. And I'm putting it everywhere I did not put the NYX primer. So up in here, up in here. The brush that I'm going to be using is from Beauty For Real. This is their complexion brush. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I only need 1 pump of this. But typically I do like to go all in with my foundation, so I might add a little bit more. This foundation specifically is really, really beautiful on the skin. I feel like it looks subtle, if you will. I wouldn't necessarily say natural, because there's a fine line between natural and having a whole bunch of makeup on. But even when I layer it like I'm doing right now, adding more layers and getting more coverage, it still looks really, really pretty. It doesn't look like I hate to say the word cakey because I call myself a cake face, but it doesn't look cakey. It doesn't look overdone. It blends really well into everything else. And most of the time when I wear it, I get compliments. So that speaks for itself, does it not? And you'll notice I'm tapping it in instead of like sweeping it across my face because in my humble opinion, I feel like when I put down a primer and then I start rubbing the product in with a brush, I'm basically just removing the primer or picking it up. And that can also cause the products to ball up on your skin depending on how you're layering them. So if you find that you have that issue sometimes, maybe give tapping in your makeup a try instead of rubbing it in. And my brain is like, what's the next step? For my bronzer, I'm going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills foundation. This is in the shade 500C. So I like to start on my forehead because a little goes a long way with this foundation. And it's very easy to get carried away. So I start on my forehead. I'm going to blend out my cheekbones first. Like so, like that. And I'm bringing it all the way down. Because I'm going to use setting powder and everything else anyway. And then carefully blending this into my hairline. Because y'all know I got me a silk press, honey. And I'm not trying to hunt down the foundation when I'm washing my face. I'm also going to sweep a little bit on the upper bridge of my nose. And sort of just come through here. Like that. This is the Milk Makeup Concealer. Same one I use underneath my brows. I'm actually going to add a little bit of the Tula Concealer. This is in the shade 160. And it's pretty much just to give me a nice little transition between this lighter shade and my bronze tour. And I'm also gonna add a little bit, just a little bit, of Anastasia Beverly Hills concealer in the shade number 10. This concealer is fantastic. If you love a good concealer that you can blend and mix with other things, that has a good coverage and lasts a while, get the Anastasia one. So I'm actually going to start from the outside because I want this color to be blended out first. And I'm going to bring it down and around my mouth pretty much. This is just going to make sure that when I start blending out the lighter shades, they have something wet to blend into. And everything just transitions much better. Now you don't have to use as many concealers as me. You know, you can definitely blend one shade out and it'll look really good, but I just like having a smooth transition, you know. Also, the lighter concealer that I use helps with making sure that the lines I have underneath my eyes are nice, and it's not like they're invisible, but on camera it's just brighter. So it reflects more light, making it look like it's not as obvious that I have those lines there. And that's why I like using multiple colors, y'all. Okay, so I'm going to use the Beauty Blender sponge puff thing. And the One Size powder from earlier. This is in the shade Rich Peach. Again, I'm coming up under here to make sure we're blended out. Looking up helps stretch the skin on my lower lash line so that everything can get right where it needs to be. When I tell y'all I love this powder, when I tell you I love this powder, I love this powder, and I love their eyeliner. I mean, just look at the material, honey. Look at the material. And on my forehead, I'm just lightly tapping because I know my forehead is going to catch the sun and shine up, warm up the base makeup on my face. So I'm just going to... Yeah, honey. Typically, I don't go out and about without having something on my lower lash line. But today's going to be a different story. I'm going to put on mascara, of course, but today's going to be a different story because I'm keeping this look, what y'all? Simple. This is the Milk Makeup Blush in the shade Burst. This is one of their jelly tint blushes. And I'm just going to put it on like I did the first time I tried it. I'm putting on way more than I did the first time I tried it. I'm gonna take the butt of my beauty blender and baby, we blend this out. I'm blending down first because I want to get an idea of how this is going to work out before I blend it closer to my eye where the powder and stuff is. And it played very well. Do y'all see how pretty that is? Period. And these blushes can be layered. Most definitely. Like, I could put on way more if I wanted to. But I'm not because we're keeping this what, y'all? Simple. I will say this though, if you wear these, I like to wipe mine off because I put mine on top of, you know, wet foundation, concealer, bronzer, whatever you call it. And so it can get a little icky looking. Moving on, like I said, I'm also going to go ahead and top this blush off with my Rundown Hush Tone from MAC. I feel like one day somebody's going to stop me. Somebody's going to stop me and be like, girl, buy a new one. But there's just something about using all of the MAC products. There's just something about it. I don't know. I should get another one, huh? And I'm going to tap this right on top of that. And since this is a mineralized blush, it reflects light. It's kind of not flat at all. And it's going to give me some dimension. But I love that. See there? Just a subtle little hint. And when I have one that's not basically pan, I'm able to pick up a lot of product and get a lot of color from this. But even on top of the little jelly tint, it's just really, really pretty. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of this blush. This is a cheek clapper in the shade, or in the trio Rich BETCH. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this one because it has a bit more red to it. And I'm going to wipe off my brush just a little bit, and I'm going to put the red like back here because I want dimension. I want it to look like I have multiple colors on. So I'm putting it right up in here. Typically where you would probably put like contour or bronzer is where I'm placing this. So when I change or turn my head, I've got dimension, you know? It doesn't just look like I have one flat color on my face. And a little bit across the nose. When I go across the nose, I usually don't go on top. I'm kind of underneath because of the shape of my nose. But if you do this, do it however you like. And I'm going to sweep a little bit across my eyelids. Alright, y'all. This is coming out cute. I do need to eat, so I don't want to put on a crazy lip. Also, my lips are low-key kind of peeling. So, what I'm going to do, let's see. I'm going to take Malt from ABH and line my lips. Boom shakalaka. I'm going to take the Benetint. This is, girl, what is the color? Pink Lemonade. And I'm going to use it on my upper lip. And then blend it in. I feel like a lip tint is a safe way to go when my lips are peeling, because it's so thin, it's going to stain that skin that's peeling and make it look like I tried. Okay, and then for the gloss, I'm going to use Soft Pink. This is from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I'm just going to use a little bit, not too much, because this is actually got quite a bit of pigment to it. Period. The mascaras that I've been using are these two. So we have the One Coat Wow from Huda Beauty, and then the Anastasia Beverly Hills. I think this is, yeah, Lash Sculpt. So this one I like to use on my upper lashes just because the wand and the formula grabs my eyelashes pretty good, if I do say so myself. And I like using thinner formulas on my upper lashes since I typically wear fake lashes. This also helps me make sure that my lashes are sticking together, the real ones and the fake ones. Now I don't run my brush all the way through the fake lashes because I don't want to change their shape. So pretty much just coming into contact with my real lashes, and that's it. This is also a great way to hide a gap if you have a bit of a gap, because you can sort of use the mascara as a second adhesive and pinch the real lashes with your fake ones a little bit more depending on how strong your mascara is. And I'm being a lot more careful than I typically am since I don't have any eyeshadow down here. Can y'all see that? One Coat Wow is right. Although I will say I can definitely do multiple coats of this mascara, especially since my lashes are so, the hair is thin. I will say this though, I feel like this formula sort of clumps, if you will, which is likely why I like to do 2 coats instead of 1, despite the name. Because when it's 1 coat and it's clumping, it kind of just looks like I don't know how to put on mascara. I don't know. I don't know. It's not my favorite mascara, but it does do its job. So, yeah. I'm just not a fan of the clumping, like the balls of product on my eye. So last but not least, we're going to go ahead and set everything with the Milk Hydro Grip Set and Refresh Spray. This is a dual formula setting spray, so you have to shake it up. You don't got to be violent, but I do recommend doing a little before you go ahead and spray, because it's easy to get carried away, number one. And number two, you don't want it to spritz you because you were shaking it too hard. Is that good? Y'all know me. If my face doesn't feel wet, I'm like, did I use enough setting spray? So anyway, this is the final look for today for the event we're going to. And you're coming with me, especially if you watch my vlogs, honey. So make sure you tune in to the next vlog that's coming up. But yeah, looking pretty good. I really like the way that my base is looking. I realize part of the reason why I don't use that smoothing primer all the time, because I feel like it's presenting a little bit more texture than I care to see on my face. Y'all can't see it on camera, but it's just, or maybe you can. It's presenting a little bit more texture than I care to see, but it is what it is for now, because I'm not wearing this all day anyway. And I like the lashes. I wish the band was a little bit more flexible. I feel like it was kind of stiff putting it on, but you know what? We look good. We look good, especially if you did your makeup while I did my makeup. We look good, honey. Period. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. Like this video. It's not hard to do. You can do it on your TV and on your phone and your computer. Like this video. Leave me a comment down below telling me how your summer is going so far, or just say something random. That's fine with me too. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications so that you can see more videos like this, as well as my vlogging content. I'm gonna see y'all later, okay? Peace. I had a dream last night. Did everything I never do in